So do you remember Hurricane Helene, the one that went through the southeast and swept through Florida and Georgia with major destruction and then massive devastation in Appalachia? The video you're about to watch was prepared to create awareness of just how hard one certain area was hit. The area of devastation was enormous, and most areas were not talked about, and not many people know what happened or what's going on. But there are people, there are ministries on the ground helping, and now most areas are past the recovery stage and are in the cleanup and rebuilding stage. But there are still people in tents, there are still people without running water and without power, even now. There are some needs, the greatest of which is volunteers. Speaking of skilled laborers, plumbers, electricians, roofers, people who know how to rebuild and install flooring and walls, people who own and know how to operate large machinery, skid steers, track hoes, and fixing landslides and so on. Also, it is written, just recently interviewed 2 men who have been on the ground and doing work since day one. I'm going to provide a link in the description for that video as well. So where the media has not seemed to show any interest in these people, let's pray, let's give, let's volunteer if we can, and bring some awareness to these precious souls and children of God.
For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. And because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all nations. And then the end shall come. Matthew chapter 24, verses 12 through 14. The story of Pensacola, North Carolina. On September 27, 2024, the southeastern U.S. was slammed by a massive hurricane. Pensacola, North Carolina lies at the bottom where 2 mountain ridges meet on the northwest side. The shape of the land creates a funnel when it rains. This is Cattail Creek. It runs along the ridge of the northeast side. This is the Cane River. It runs along the west side. This area is full of retention ponds, a recipe that spelled disaster for the people of this community. Hurricane Helene was massive, stretching out more than 600 miles and across 6 states. It made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane and dumped over 40 trillion gallons of water. It left a path of destruction through Florida and Georgia. It was forecasted to turn northwest, but it came to a halt right over the heart of the Appalachian Mountains.
You can hear the wood cracking. Oh, wow.
This area was already rain-soaked, and the rivers were full before the storm even came through. No one could have been prepared for what was to come next. Rivers rose out of their banks. Dams were at risk of failing. People were given very little to no warning of the danger they were in. This is a Google view of Pensacola, North Carolina. This beautiful land was ravaged by the deadliest flood anyone had ever seen. This is the heart of Pensacola, right at the area where the tiny creek, the small river, and the ponds come very close together. This is their story. Residents described the flood as a tidal wave. It was massive, it came quickly, and it was deadly.
I don't know if this translates, but that whole area is dammed up right now, forcing all this water to go this way. Only thing stopping anything from coming here is that big tree that's blocking the debris. Telephone poles are down. Houses are going. Oh my God. It damned itself. Uh-oh. No, 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 stay. 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 My truck is now getting squashed. The water is just barreling over my Nissan. I think that's literally the only thing stopping it from messing up the trailer because it's so high right now. Building went down over there. Fences came up. Light post went down. Electric post went down. Oh man, this is a mess. I didn't realize it was going to get like this. The aftermath. It's wild. This power cord literally wrapped around up and over to the other side and created this dam barrier for me all the way over there. My wood pile saved me over here, creating a little dam pile. There's somebody trapped over there I'm gonna go check on. Almost all the telephone poles are down. So that's the dam that saved me. Mailbox is gone. My wood workshop shed in the back is gone.
Houses were ripped apart. People lost their lives. Businesses were destroyed. Pensacola was completely cut off and only accessible by helicopter. People whose houses were spared had no access in or out due to bridges and roads being washed away. Survivors and locals scrambled to search for the living. Some people were swept away in their houses. Some were ripped out of the arms of loved ones. It was chaos and confusion. But quickly the people came together. Teams organized and began searches and cleanup and distributing essential items. Personal helicopters were put into action to help rescue and bring needed supplies to those who were cut off. This is up the mountain, just above from William's house, who rode out the storm. This house slid down the hill from where it originally sat.
Yeah, right where that little tree is where that trailer used to be. How did he get out? I have no idea. He may not have been in it.
Jumbled masses of debris from houses, cars, and trees are spread for miles and miles. Bridges completely washed away, cutting off access to homes. A tiny creek turned into a massive raging river and filled the valley, destroying everything in its path. Canyons were created where there were once peaceful flows of water and the landside full of lush green vegetation. Homes were completely washed away, properties completely destroyed and unrecognizable. This church was in the direct path of the floodwaters. Praise God, it is still standing. Cleanup will be a long, grueling process. Some have estimated about 10 years' worth of work to restore this beautiful and peaceful area. People's lives completely ripped apart. Rivers and creeks are expected to rise and fall with the seasons and the rainfall. No one could have imagined this level of destruction. There were over 400 landslides reported in this area alone. The stories of the horror and survival that came out of these hollers are difficult to imagine. This house and property became completely unrecognizable. The creek is across the road, and it is so narrow you can literally jump across it. Bustling with life in the summertime, forever to be changed. Wilson's Grocery, a historic landmark, forever washed away. The stories like these go on and on. There are so many stories of heartache and survival. The wall of water tore through this area and in a matter of hours carved out a completely new riverbed, forever changing the landscape. Landslides on the mountain and a raging river leaves a house that was originally set back in a picturesque setting. Now looks as if it's sitting in the middle of a riverbed. Narrowly saved from a landslide, the neighbor's house wasn't so fortunate. The popular River Life store was thankfully spared. These steps lead to a welcome mat of a home that is no longer there. The aftermath looks like a war zone. Most of these homes will likely be condemned. Many are having to completely start over.
All right, everyone. My name is Gabriel. We are with William in Pensacola, North Carolina, and we're here to ask him some questions about what exactly happened here. So, what was it like during everything that happened?
It was one of the craziest times, but yet in the moment, I wasn't as worried as I should have been because I really didn't know any better. This is my first time going through anything like this, and
Right.
what I was told from the local people was that it wasn't going to be that bad. We were going to lose power for a little bit. Maybe the water got a little bit up to the trailer. But other than that, it wasn't supposed to be anything more than just a regular kind of flood situation that we're in a floodplain. So, you know, it was a natural occurrence around here.
And how high was the water?
So they said that we got about 30 feet higher than it's ever been, and the only thing I have to compare it to is that the dam that built right over here, um, the water went up to the top of the dam. So when I came and measured that, it was well above my head. And if we were going to compare it to the trailer, it would have probably been to the window, the top of the window on my trailer. It was over my two vehicles that were right over here. The one vehicle, it was completely submerged in water. And the only reason I'm even here is because that tree got stuck behind my vehicle and the debris wall that built up around it that pushed the water on both sides and saved me. Like, yeah.
What was it like right after everything?
Quiet. It was so quiet. The only thing you could hear was water. That was it, and it was eerily quiet. That's nighttime was the darkest it's ever been I've ever seen. I could see every star in the sky, and it was true silence and true darkness. Right after everything settled, it was. Some people have described it as shell shock, and it looked like we were pretty much. I hate to say it like this, but like bombed almost. And it looked like nature bombed us with everything. Nobody realized mudslides were coming. Nobody realized how much earth was moved during all of this, how landscapes were completely reshaped.
Right.
It looked like God took an ice cream scooper and just started scooping out areas. And you could see the layers of years of construction and building and roadways, just one section, just whole scooped out layers. You could see the whole from when they started to build, the cobblestone roads, the foundations, everything. It was incredible.
I've also heard from the locals that there were 3 waves that came around, right?
Yes. So we got hit from the Cattail Creek that turned into a river, the ponds down over here, and the mountain itself. The storm just kind of hovered above the mountain for an unknown amount of time and just poured. We were a funnel, pretty much. And those 3 things, when the pond busted over there and Cattail Creek just went crazy, it created just these waves that came. In the beginning, it was just light wave, and then it's just every couple hours it just got worse. And at the very end there is where my video was, and that was the 3rd big wave and the 3rd big push that kind of brought everything down and created the little damming. And honestly, if it wasn't for the damming and the way things shaped out, we wouldn't have an area here because it was completely covered all around the corner. Those houses all would have been washed away. Everything would have been completely destroyed if everything hadn't completely blocked up the way it did. God's hands, honestly. It just God just put his little hands right on over us and was just like, we got you. Yeah, divine intervention is the only reason I'm here. There's no other explanation, honestly.
Did you receive any warnings before this ever happened?
We had one gentleman from the fire department come around to the houses, and he was telling us if we felt that we were in danger or if the water was getting to a place where we didn't feel safe, to come to the fire department. He said that the amount of rain that we were going to get in this storm was 3 times more than the last major flood that they had a couple years ago, and they weren't sure about what was going to happen and how it was all going to play out. So my woodshed, that used to be my main way of making things, used to be right back here behind the 2 trailers. That got pushed all the way out into the field over there. Stayed in one piece though, like miraculously stayed in one piece and got pushed all the way out. Now it did get filled halfway up with water, so I still haven't dug through it. That's where I would make all my creations here. Did the connection pipe from the septic underneath. The well house, along with my vehicles, caught all the debris, and the well got completely flooded over. The well house got completely destroyed, and it shifted. So we had to kind of dig out around it to kind of see where the foundation was, and even if we could fix it, to which we have no idea. I have no idea, I should say, what would happen with it, honestly. I do not. I've known bottled water since about 3 weeks in. I have a propane heater that I've been using, and fortunately enough, people have been giving us little 20-pound tanks, so I've been okay with my heating source. Yeah, I go through, depending on the cold, the 20-pound tank will last anywhere from a day and a half to 3 days, and if I have to work or not, because I work 12-hour shifts. So when I go to work, I turn everything off, and if I'm a working week, I can make it last about 3 days. On a off week, it's about 2 days, and depending on the cold, because I don't try not to run it unless I absolutely have to with the weather and whatnot.
This is the lathe that William lost in the storm. If you would like to donate to William to help him rebuild his shop, on the screen are 2 ways you can make a donation to him. Pensacola, North Carolina was hit hard by Hurricane Helene, receiving an estimated 31 to 51 inches of rain in just 2 days. Quiet creeks and peaceful rivers turned raging and deadly, ripping apart everything in their path. Almost $60 billion is estimated for damages in the state of North Carolina alone. The death toll is high, and by some estimated to be in the thousands. However, those are unconfirmed, and we will probably never know the exact number. These are ministries you can volunteer with or donate to. Dan Olson with Hope for Health. Visit him at www.hopeforhealthusa.com, or you can call the number on your screen. Jeff Gallimore with Mission Recovery. www.missionrecovery.us, or you can visit them on Facebook. Also working out of Swannanoa, North Carolina is Johnny Rodman with Light in the Storm Disaster Relief Ministries. You can visit him at www.lightinthestorm.org or call the number on your screen. The urgent needs as of February 1, 2025 are heating sources, propane tanks, and propane. Also, monetary donations to help keep the equipment running and the supplies bought for the restoration and rebuilding of the homes and businesses. These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. John chapter 16, verse 33.